everyone. On behalf of Bangalore School Sahodaya Complex, it is a pleasure to invite you all for this evening's session on motivating adolescents during this pandemic time. We are very happy to have Dr. Preeti Galagali with us today, who will be taking you through this session. Dr. Preeti Galagali is a gold medalist in MD Pediatrics and has also done her postgraduate diploma in adolescent pediatrics. She has also undertaken special training in child and adolescent mental health. She has conducted many teaching programs on adolescent medicine. She has been the guest faculty for training senior medical officers in adolescent healthcare. Her research works and publication touch on topics regarding adolescent issues, also counseling. She has participated in many seminars and conferences as a coordinator, convener, and faculty. She is a member of various associations like the Indian Academy of Pediatrics, Indian Medical Association, and also the Indian Academic of Pediatrics, Bangalore. Her specializations are, she is specialist consultations, adolescent care and counseling, immunization, nebulization, psychological assessment, and remedial education. Welcome, Dr. Preeti Galagali, for this session. And now I hand over the session to you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much for this warm introduction. And let me share my screen.
I would request everyone to keep themselves on mute.
My screen visible to everybody?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Evening. It's a pleasure to be here amongst all of you. And thank you very much, Sahodaya Group of Organization, for making one of my dreams come true during the pandemic of addressing teachers and sharing.
My son's name Areman Singh.
Yeah.
I am actually with my son's name Areman Singh. You just look for Areman Singh.
Can you please put your mic to mute? Geeta Madam, can you please put everybody's mic to mute?
Areman Singh, Areman Singh.
You can.
Yes, ma'am, I have muted everyone. You may proceed. Sorry for that.
Thank you. No problem, madam. No problem, madam. So let me just share with you quickly how this idea of this session came to my mind. This idea came because I nowadays do telecounseling because, as you know, because of the pandemic, we cannot do long sessions of counseling in our clinic. So just a few days ago, I was counseling these two adolescents and both had suicide ideation. And the older adolescent who was in 12th standard said, "Doctor, because of this online education, I am not enjoying my studies. I'm not able to keep pace and I have really lot of portion to complete. Though I'm a good student, I have been amongst the 5 top ranks in the school, but now I'm feeling totally worthless and I feel that life is not worth living." I listened to this adolescent with patience and I said, "I have a magic box here. And this box contains the picture of the person who is the most important person in your life." Suddenly her face brightened and she said, "Doctor, do you mean to say you have my mother's photograph?" I said, "Just wait and see." And I opened the box. And she said, "What is this, doctor? This box has a mirror." I said, "Yes. And if you were in my clinic and if I was doing counseling, I would have shown you this mirror. And whose picture would you have seen?" "Myself." I said, "Yes. You are the most important person for yourself in your life. Yes, your mother is important, and she is your mother because you are there. So let's talk about you for the next few minutes. And then the counseling session started, and there was a big smile on her face, and she said, that was rather cute. And now, after sharing these strategies, which I'm going to share in the next few minutes with you, she is doing quite well in her study. Coming to the second case, this was an old patient of mine whom I had seen a few years ago, and he contacted me and he said, Doctor, I have not told this to my mother, but I cut myself today. I said, what happened? He said, my best friend, who I have been really having a strong bond since lower KG, suddenly said that I am the worst person on the earth. I said, why did this happen and what happened? So he said, I don't want to share everything with you, but what I want to tell you is that this friend put me down, he ditched me, he started bullying me, and when I complained to him, he said, I am a terrible friend. So I said, what do you feel about yourself? He said, I am a good friend. And I said, okay, so if you have this 100 rupee note in your hand, and if somebody crushes it, what would be the value of this note? He said it would be 100. So I said, irrespective of what other people say about you, you know who you are. And this is a lesson for you to pick up and choose the correct type of friends. And friends do change with age. What the feelings that we had at LKG may not stand the test of time in your 12th standard. So please do not judge yourself by other people's eyes. And then we further discussed about which are the kind of friends we would like to have. So these two small counseling strategies maybe saved a life. And then I thought, all adolescents do not have my phone number. How can I reach to more and more adolescents? And I can reach to them through teachers, through you. And hence the idea of this session came along, and I thank Mrs. Sumalini for introducing me to the Sahodya group. So let's talk about SMART strategies. And I'm sure as teachers, you know, SMART means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. And you have to give me a feedback whether these strategies which I share with you worked or not. And talking about smartness, I know you're all teachers. You are much more smarter than me. And before I start my session, let me pay my regards to the counselor of counselors, Lord Krishna. You will all agree with me that Lord Krishna is undoubtedly the greatest motivator of all time. And let's start this session with a small prayer to him and getting in touch with our own adolescents. Talking about motivation. Motivation is a fire from within. Someone tries to light that fire, chances are it will very briefly. So we know motivation fire has to be lit by ourselves. Before we even start lighting the fire, do we have the energy within us? Even let this fire spark first. So as I'm discussing with you, I would like you to think about your students. What are they feeling?
हेलो वायरस आ गया है उसमें
Light the fire.
वायरस आ गया है वो लगा देंगे तो ठीक हो जाएगा वो
So, participants are requested to mute themselves, please. Kindly help us by muting yourselves. Any questions you may put in the chat box.
You know about adolescents. There is a normative adolescent resistance look at this Garfield, which actually represents an adolescent. Garfield says, I can, but I won't. Autonomy developing, and they would probably resist to do things unless they are motivated enough. And as teachers, you need to motivate them to the very best. And sometimes motivation comes with a touch of humor also. Look at this, a little obese adolescent girl running on the treadmill, and what is really motivating her is the cake on the other end, because she knows that if she loses weight at the end of the week, she will get to eat that cake, and that is what is motivating her. Talking about motivation, do we want motivation to be a wrestling match? Like you're telling the adolescent in red, that's the teacher, asking the student in blue, study, study, study. And the adolescent is saying, I don't want to study, I don't want to study. And you're almost forcing him to study. Well, this kind of motivation will not work. So how should the motivation be? Motivation should be like a dance. It should be like a collaboration between the teacher and the student. There should be a smile on the face of the teacher. There should be a smile on the face of the student. And you should help your student to achieve his potential. And that is the kind of motivation that we are going to be talking about in the next few minutes. And just coming to this, let me just give you an example. I had this young boy of 10th standard coming to me, and the parents said he doesn't want to go to school. I talked to the adolescent and he said, Doctor, my father is a pujari, temple priest. I too am going to become a temple priest. Why do I need to learn mathematics of 10th standard? I hate mathematics. So I said, okay, so you aim to become a temple priest, and I know that you're going to earn a lot of money. You're going to put that money in the bank, and if the bank cheats you, you should at least know how to calculate the simple interest, the compound interest. Now, is that reason enough to study? He kept quiet. He finished his 10th standard. He finished his 12th standard. And yes, now he is a temple priest. And he often tells me that if it was not for me, he won't have actually completed his 12th. And now I treat his son in my clinic. So what are we going to discuss in the next few minutes? We will discuss the challenges of the pandemic, the challenges for teachers and challenges for students, the neurobiology of stress. Adolescence itself is a period of vulnerability and opportunity. We'll talk about a little bit about stress management, because stress management is important if we want our adolescents to be motivated to learn. We will talk about smart teaching and learning strategies, and how can teacher be an online counselor. Just note here, neurobiology of stress, stress management and learning strategies are actually PowerPoint presentations for the adolescents themselves. And after this session, I'll be happy to share these slides with you, which during your online class, sometimes during a break, you could actually discuss these issues with the students during their break time. So we all know the pandemic has caused anxiety, fear, uncertainty, and loneliness in all of us. Not only in students, but also in teachers. There are personal challenges of looking after the family. I'm sure there are challenges of looking after your parents and in-laws and senior citizens. There are relationship challenges, financial constraints, the dangers of COVID-19 infection, the fear of getting the infection, the quarantine fear, and so on. And on top of that, for all teachers, there are the professional challenges of online teaching, the concerns of the parents of the students, concerns about school reopening. Will we get the infection? What about teachers who are senior citizens? What about teachers who have comorbidities like hypertension and diabetes? All these are really worrying factors. And what about post-pandemic education. Children have not been coming to school. Will they behave themselves when they come back to school? All these things are worrying, but let me just tell you straight away, let's stay in the present. If in the present, our stress is about online teaching, let's handle that. And a quick tip in the beginning, spend at least 15 minutes of me time every day teaching, and you would feel much better even if you don't pay attention to rest of my talk. Coming to the challenges in children, now there is some research from India, and this paper which was published in 2020 said that children who are quarantined and who are not quarantined also have increased worry, helplessness, fear, nervousness, anger, annoyance, and loneliness. And look at this. Another research study from India shows that internet gaming disorder has increased. Why has it increased? To compound examination stress. Teachers again have a big role to play. There are not only these feelings. Ideally, we would like all our adolescent students to be smiling like this and interacting with each other. Unfortunately, this is not happening, and the pandemic has thrown them into unhealthy eating, lack of exercise, digital addiction, cyber bullying, physical and even emotional abuse by parents, some of them going into depression, into drug use, and some of them even thinking of self-harm. So the role of the teachers becomes extremely important here, because these young people are now rarely coming to the health professionals. The only way that we can reach out to these young people is through you. Apart from the parents, there is another trustworthy adult in their life, and that is you. And hence your role becomes even more important. Let's quickly discuss the neurobiology of stress. Now, talking about stress, think of the early man who used to live in a cave, and suddenly if a lioness came in front of him, what would be his response? So you'll all agree with me that the lioness is a real stress. It is not a perceived stress. And he would either want to fight the lioness, or he would go into a freeze reaction, or he would like to run away from the lioness. So he knows, the early man knows, that if he fights the lioness or if he freezes, the lioness will eat him. So what does he want to do? He wants to run away from the lioness. And when he is on this flight reaction, there is the activation of the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis in his body. So the brain says there is stress, and the stress is the lion, and for survival we have to run away from the lioness. So the hypothalamus signals the anterior pituitary to secrete adrenocorticotropic hormone, which in turn secretes steroids from the adrenal cortex and stimulates the secretion of noradrenaline and adrenaline from the adrenal medulla. So how do these hormones help us? Adrenaline causes increased pumping of the heart. More blood goes into the brain and to the muscle. When the blood goes to the brain, the person can think, where can I run? Where can I hide? And when more blood goes to the muscle, the person can run faster. Also, there is the dilatation of the pupil so that the person can look here and there better. The respiratory rate increases so that more oxygen goes into the system. There is less blood supply to the digestive tract and the kidneys, and sometimes there are butterflies in the stomach due to this reason when there is increased stress. What does the corticosteroid hormone do? It helps in the breakdown of glycogen, glycogenolysis. There is more glucose available for which can be utilized for metabolism by the brain and also by the muscle. So these are all adaptive responses. So what happens? The person runs hard. The early man hides behind a big bush. The lioness looks for him here and there, doesn't find him, and goes away. And the early man feels relaxed. The stress has gone. All his hormonal levels come down. But in our life, they are actually no lions, lionesses, and tigers. There are paper tigers and lionesses, which simply do not go away. Right now, we are suffering from the pandemic. The coronavirus is actually a big stressor for us. And for students, exams and studying always remains a stress. And for us, traffic jams, looking after our parents, looking after the children, household work, teaching, all these stresses are always there. So how can we keep our hormones under control so that they don't affect our health is the challenge. What else can poor stress management do? It can cause hormonal changes, as I said. For women, it decreases the estrogen and progesterone. Also, it decreases the oxytocin hormone, which is called the love hormone. And when the oxytocin hormone is down, we feel very irritable and angry. And it is no wonder that the stress in all research studies has been shown is much more on the women, especially when they become mothers, during menopause, and later in life when they have to take care of their parents and in-laws. And hence, women have to be very careful in managing stress. Increased stress also causes inflammation and increased blood sugar, which causes heart problems, diabetes, aging, and even cancer. Look at this word which I have written here, dysbiosis. The latest research says that stress acts on the gut hormones. We have on the gut bacteria. We have a lot of good bacteria in our intestinal tract. And when there is stress, the good bacteria get converted into pathogenic bacteria, which cause inflammation throughout our body. And such inflammation is also caused by eating junk food. So in fact, junk food is also a kind of stress in our body. And what happens to children when they are under distress? I'm sure this happens to us even. So we have these physical, psychological, and behavioral changes when somebody is under too much of stress: headache, sweating, stomach pain, pimples, sleep disturbances, forgetfulness, loss of interest in activities, sadness, poor appetite, suicidal thoughts, excessive anger, irritability, disturbed relationships, and even self-harm. Another important thing about the cortisol hormone is when there is too much of cortisol hormone or steroid hormone, it works on the hippocampus of the brain. And hippocampus is the memory center of the brain and is important for cognition. So a word of caution here: in a growing brain like that of an adolescent, increased stress can damage the hippocampus for life. Hence, all the more reason that all adolescents have to learn stress management. Now, is all stress bad? As I said before, stress, we cannot escape from stress. We have to learn how to manage it optimally. We often know that if we have a class the next day, when we are learning for that class, we are preparing for the teaching session, we can do it much more quickly than what we would have done if there was no teaching session the next day. And the same holds good for students. Students often have increased attention just before the exams, and they are able to study well, provided they have been doing regular studies before. So in fact, a little bit of stress improves performance, and this is the balance which we are looking for. We want our stress level to be eustress so that our performance peaks. It is only when the stress gets into a distress, when we get very worried about it, when we get very anxious about it, that our performance drops. And this is the optimal point which we have to teach students how to attain. Let's come to the pandemic itself. Many people would say, oh no, the pandemic has destroyed the schooling system. Here I would remind you about Mark Twain's quote. Mark Twain has said, I have never let my schooling interfere with my education. Here's an opportunity for us to explore whether schools can be the only source of education, or can we look for some other sources which can be equally exciting and equally encouraging and equally creative. So it is up to you how you use this pandemic as an opportunity, and if you make yourself vulnerable, you are going to get into distress. There are a lot of books written about stress management, and when you're talking to children, I think only 3 things you need to tell them. You need to teach them about skills to maintain health, teach them about problem solving skills and coping skills, and tell them what matters most is how you see yourself. Even a docile cat may think that she is a ferocious lion who can overcome all stressors in life. And it's also important how you look at the stressors, like the example I gave just now about the pandemic. So it is up to us. How do we handle the stress? Crying or with a smile? Take the example of sports person. Take the example of Olympic champions. They are under a lot of stress, but they do not get distressed. They actually handle their stress with a smile and give their best in any Olympic game. And that is what we need to learn in life, how to handle stress optimally. Hence, it is very important for each one of us, because our perceptions may vary. A traffic jam may be a lot of stress for me, but you would be able to easily handle the traffic jam. Hence, an individualized stress management plan is the need of the hour. We have to understand our stressors and make a plan to handle them. Please remember that thoughts create feelings, feelings create behavior, and behavior reinforces thoughts. Let me take the example of the case which I shared with you. I am behind in my class. I am worthless. I can never catch up with my studies. So this is the thought. The feeling would be of sadness, and the student cannot pick up his book. When he cannot pick up his books, he feels even more terrible, and this creates even more negative thoughts. So negative thoughts, negative feelings, loss of behavior, and more negative thoughts. So if we want to change behavior, we have to change the thoughts. I can do it. I feel more optimistic. I am there. My teachers are there to help me. My parents are there to help me. Let me see how I can handle this. And this would be a more positive thought with a more positive feeling, and the behavior would also be channelized towards actually attaining your goals. Briefly about the adolescent neurodevelopment. We all know adolescent is the age between 10 to 19 years, and there are a lot of rapid changes which take place in the biopsychosocial domains. I'm going to tell you briefly about the brain. Now, as you can see, this is one half of the cerebral hemisphere. As puberty sets in, the first part of the brain to mature is the limbic system, or the center of emotions. So here the adolescents become very sensitive. And if you tell an adolescent, you are useless, you are a bad boy, he really believes it. And then he says, why should I study? After all, I am useless. So even small comments are actually magnified in the brain because of the emotional hyperactivity of the limbic system. Also, the second center to mature in the brain is the reward center. Adolescents look for rewards in the form of appreciation from teachers, friends, and parents. And also, they look for rewards in the form of achievements. And these could be academic achievements or extra academic achievements, like it could be in sports, music, and dance. And if adolescents do not get these rewards, they often get into depression, and also sometimes use unhealthy rewards to stimulate their reward center. And this may be drugs, excessive media use, even gambling, risky driving, and even sometimes sexual promiscuity, and even food. So having understood this, we must ensure that we teach our students how to control their emotions and how to keep them involved in healthy rewards. What about the pandemic? What has happened with the pandemic is that they don't have their friends to share their emotions, and friends are extremely important for the adolescent, because you know, in adolescence there is a movement away from the family towards friends. Also, they don't have their excitements which can be there, like the co-curricular activities in school, like the various competitions that they take part in, the sporting events which they take part in. So they are very emotionally labile and they are prone for mental health disorders. Now in an adult, the limbic system and reward center is mature too. But what is mature is the judgment center, which is located in the front of the brain, which is called the prefrontal cortex. In the adolescent age group, the prefrontal cortex is the last part of the brain to mature, as can be seen in these functional MRI images. These images show the brain at different ages. The blue areas show the maturity of the brain. And as you can see here, the maturity of the brain only completes in the late 20s. So the adolescent does not have the maturity to control his emotions and to control his reward-seeking behavior. Hence the importance of parents and teachers in this age group, and also of counselors, to help the adolescent to control his emotions and sensation-seeking behavior. All the more so in the pandemic. In the pandemic, adolescents need us more. And believe it or not, parents are really at the edge nowadays, because they have been locked up with their children for nearly 6 months. So it is time that you teachers help them, and even doctors like me help the parents. Coming to the stressors which the adolescents are facing in this period, and how am I saying with so much of authority? I'm saying about these stressors with authority because I have taken a session for 350 adolescents just last week, in which they shared with me what are their stressors. Some of them said, I think I'm becoming fat. I think my father is beating me and is breathing down my neck every day. Doctor, online is the only way in which we can get rest and recreation, and I can talk to my friends. My father is not allowing me to use my mobile. I am missing my friends a lot. Some of my friends have stopped talking to me. I'm missing my school. I'm missing my teachers. I find online schooling very boring. Doctor, all the time I'm seeing the media, I'm getting a headache, I'm getting neck pain. Doctor, in our community, people are not wearing masks. They are not ensuring social distancing. So these are the multiple stressors which adolescents are facing. And like I said before, we have to help them to handle these stressors. And as I said before, the wrong ways of handling stress can be going into depression, even running away from home, showing a lot of anger, going on to drug use, harming themselves, and even suicide. And this is what we need to protect our adolescents from. So what is the stress management toolbox? Can we offer them a toolbox that will help them to really manage their stress? As teachers, as doctors, this is the toolbox that you can share with them and tell them, whenever there is a stress, think what is causing the stress. When you are angry, when you are irritable, you are having a headache, you are having stomachache, your doctor says there is no physical health problem and you are under stress, think of the stressor and think how to overcome it. But before that, ensure that you have a balanced diet, you exercise for at least 1 hour every day, and you sleep for at least 8 hours. This itself builds up your health and helps you to handle stress. Also make sure that you complete your vaccination. Yes, in the adolescent period, there are vaccinations to be taken, and especially in this COVID-19 period, please ensure that you have taken your influenza vaccine and pneumococcal vaccine. If you believe in God, please continue to pray. That is a terrific stress buster. And even if you don't, learn how to meditate. And then the adolescent asks me, will meditation make all my stresses go away? I often tell them this example of this bottle. I said, you have a stress, your mind is turbulent, right? There is so much of homework to be done. Your parents are scolding you. You are under a lot of stress. If you just concentrate on your breath for a few minutes, what is going to happen? Your mind is going to calm down. And like this clear water now, you would be able to look for your solutions clearly. Meditation does not make the stress go away. It only improves your response to stress in a more healthy way. What else? What are the other tools? Yes, be up to date with your studies, and what you do not understand, please make sure that you get it cleared. Also, connect with nature. Go and start the hobbies which you were always planning to start. Maybe dancing, maybe photography. Nature at least keeps you calm. How do you connect with the nature? Go to the terrace. And when there is not too much of rush, go to the park with a mask on. Connect with the nature. It is a stress buster. Connect with your family. Connect with your parents. I know you don't like them much sometimes, but at least if they can't tell you a joke, can you share a joke with them? Also, connect with your grandparents. It's so important to take care about them and think how to be together while apart using the social media in a healthy way. Have these Zoom meetings with your friend. Have cookery meetings with your friends. Have these fitness sessions with your friends. And don't forget to thank all the Corona warriors, because when you thank them, actually you fight your stress and contribute. If there is somebody who's in quarantine, go and get groceries for them. And when you help somebody, your stress comes under control. So this is the kind of toolbox that you can offer to the adolescents and tell them to pick some or pick few. Very important to tell all adolescents about the importance of exercise. Exercise, yes, keeps you physically fit. Sharing this study with you, in which 20 students were given the same test. A few of them were asked to take a 20-minute walk before the test, and the others were told to just sit down. The ones who sat down, this was the MRI image, brain scan image, and the ones who did the walk, you can see here the blood flow in the temporal part of the brain as well as the memory center increased after the walk. And it is not a wonder at all that the students who took the walk performed much better than the students who had not taken the walk before the exam. So remember, even doing physical exercise just before your test does wonders for the blood circulation in the brain. And just imagine if you do physical exercise every day. And remember, the adolescent brain is under construction. It is only after 24 years that it becomes relatively more rigid. Until that time, it is very, very flexible. So more blood circulation would actually cause more brain growth. And hence the importance of exercise. How can we exercise at home? We can't go out. Here is a suggestion for you. Join online exercise classes, skipping on your terrace, dancing, muscle strength and balance training at home, playing active video games. And Nimhans has started this session, Yoga for Children. Join it. YouTube has a recording of this yoga session. Please go ahead and do it. How does exercise help? Exercise also helps in increasing the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is a growth factor for nerve cells and neurons. It also improves endorphins, which are feel-good hormones. And when you exercise in a group, probably during the pandemic, online in a group, you get the secretion of oxytocin, which decreases cortisol and inflammation in the body. Now, a word about life skills. You have a problem in your life. So an adolescent feels he has lost all his friends, like I told you in the case in the beginning. And the first thing which comes into his mind is, let me harm myself. Life is not worth living. I often talk about the thirsty crow story. I tell adolescents, here was a crow who understood that quenching his thirst was important to his survival. So, did he think of giving up? No, he never thought about that. He coped with his stress and emotions, thought about, used his creative thinking and critical thinking, thought about multiple solutions, analyzed the pros and cons, chose the right kind of decision and solved his problem. So when you have a problem in life, don't jump to the first solution which may be harmful. Think about multiple solutions, analyze pros and cons, and then choose the best one. This is what you need to teach your students, because sometimes adolescents under great emotional reactivity may think of ending their life, and they may even share it with you. Please remember, adolescents do not have a mature prefrontal cortex. If they say, they might even do it. So all the more reason that you have to be very supportive to your student who is thinking or even trying to commit suicide. What are the other important life skills? And these are all WHL life skills. These are effective communication, empathy, interpersonal relationships. And I think they are all the more important life skills. Improve our EQ and improve our SQ, emotional quotient and social quotient and environmental quotient as well. And there are two famous people, Prime Minister Modi and Barack Obama, who faced adversities in life. They used their life skills and they emerged as global leaders. Now coming back to motivation. In this pandemic period, when I've been talking to adolescents, they have been totally devastated by the low academic motivation, and they shared with me the problems that they are having. Whiling away time, not able to sleep, confusion about the lessons learned in the online classes, anxiety about the future, when will school reopen, will we be able to give our board exam, anger with the society, anger with coronavirus, anger with the parents, anger with teachers, anger with their friends, comparisons, their parents telling them, others are reading well, why are you not reading well? Let me give you an example. If today my husband would compare me with the neighbor's wife and say, she makes better soppu palya than you, how would I feel? I would feel terrible. And that is the same way which adolescents feel. Tell them they have to study because that will give them a sense of achievement, not because the neighbor's son is studying better. Also, the adolescents are worried about poor time management. Some of them have not been able to keep up with their work. So incomplete work and studies, and of course, boredom. So these are the reasons for their low academic motivation. So how do we help them? I think, let me first talk to you as teachers. Please remember, when we are talking about online teaching, I'm going to stick to only online teaching as a strategy right now, because that is what we are faced with. Please remember, don't undermine yourself. Remember, devices do not teach, teacher does. So you are the most important person for the student. You must ensure right to education for all children with dignity. Pedagogy, I don't need to say more about it. The aim of pedagogy is holistic education so that each student attains his potential. So the aim remains same. The techniques, yes, are very different from what we have been using before. We have been using online techniques. I know you have smart classrooms, but yes, we have not been using them 100% as we are using now in our schooling. Please give special focus on those students who are sitting for board exams or who have exit exams, because the kind of teaching that you're going to do with them is going to be very different from the other routine classes which do not have board exams. So don't pressurize yourself too much about those who do not have board exams. For young children, for those who are in 1st to 3rd standard and LKG, definitely parental involvement is required, and that will be the key to actually coordinate with parents. Please remember, digital platform has shortcomings. It is not 100% foolproof. So do what is possible to the best of your ability. There is some lesson which you find difficult to teach. Take creative ideas from your other teacher friends. They may have some ideas to teach it in a better way. Do not feel bad that you were not able to finish a lesson. If you feel that lesson was tough to teach online, postpone it. When the school starts, offline school starts, you can deal with that lesson later. Think of tackling more easy lessons now. Make your teaching fun and playful. Captivate the interest of your student. I know some of your students are interested in history. Give them more historical facts to gather. Some of them are interested in biology. Let them go out and interesting plants to collect. So make it interactive as far as possible. Try to practice hybrid teaching. A little bit of routine teaching, a little bit of project teaching, ecological teaching, community-based learning. Ask them, what does the government of India say? Which are the vitamins which are required to fight COVID-19? It is vitamin C and vitamin D. And what are the uses of this vitamin in our body? This is the way that you will have to probably alter the way that you are teaching to make it more interesting and more practical for the adolescent learner. Remember the reward center in the brain. Adolescents love creative ideas. They love to do new things. They love to do project-based learning. And when they do it, remember to give a thumbs up, to praise them, write an email praising them, and believe it or not, they will cooperate with you like anything. Remember, your classes should be followed by a short talk and connect time. This can be done in a group with all the students together or individual or parents. Sometimes tell them to have their dabba right in front of their computers. Let them have meals together as a group. I'm sure they must be missing their lunchtime. Don't switch off your online, your Wi-Fi when they're having meals. Let them have it together. Can you make them do meditation? Can you make them do physical activity? For example, put on the Nimhan's yoga session. Can you do it together? Can you ask them to demonstrate some of their hobbies? Maybe play the guitar in front of the rest of the class online. It would be wonderful. Tell them to discuss their problems, and these could be non-academic problems as well. Remember, lot of learning, socio-emotional learning takes place in the corridor of the school, and that corridor does not exist right now. If they cannot come to school, can we get the school to them is the challenge to all of us. And can we get the school corridor through talk and connect time online? Sometimes give the student a lesson to teach, and you as a teacher can guide. That may be interesting for the student. Sometimes special needs students would need breakout rooms, and you know there is the facility of breakout rooms in Zoom and Google. So they will need a special teacher who would give them some individualized attention till they can cope up with the rest of the class. Please remember to take a feedback. You must take a feedback from them and modify your lesson accordingly. Taking a feedback from parents may also be useful. There may be a lot of critical comments, but remember, we are not after perfection. We are just after doing our best. And you should be happy if you can do that. And I'm sure if you do that, parents would understand. This is a golden opportunity to actually offer online and offline individualized education plan for each student. We know we offer an individualized education plan for students with special needs. But here, you know your student, what subject he likes. Can you offer some good web channels where he can go and access those subjects? Can you give him some books which he can get from the school library wearing a mask. He could come and take them. These are some of the things which we have to think about. Also, it would be wonderful if the school can have a helpline or maybe an email ID where the students can express their agonies, can express what they are not getting during the pandemic time, can express their achievements, their moments of happiness. And if one teacher can take turns to answer those emails, it would be absolutely fantastic. What do we tell the students? What are the smart learning strategies? I tell them, cut out the T. I can't do it. I can do it. And quickly, I know as teachers, you know most of these strategies, but I'm going to just quickly revise with you these strategies. I tell them, remember the magic box. Remember what I told you about the magic box. You are the most important person in your life. And don't get carried away by what other people think of you. Have a high self-esteem. I tell them that matter exists in solid, liquid, and gaseous mode. When you are feeling demotivated, change your state. If you are feeling very agitated, calm down, meditate. If you have become a couch potato, move, play, exercise, yoga, dance. That will change your state of mind. And acknowledge learning is difficult now. Acknowledge online teaching is not going to be the same as classroom teaching. Acknowledge you will not have a Wi-Fi connection all the time. Acknowledge that and then learn how to deal with these stressors. I have not been able to catch up with what I learned before. Past is past. Focus on the present because present is a present. So now think how you are going to catch up on the lessons which you have not studied before. Refocus on your ambition. Do you want to become a pilot? Do you want to become a dancer? Do you want to become a doctor and engineer? How important is studying for you right now? This is the time. This is how you're going to motivate yourself. Make a plan A, plan B, plan C. Talk to your parents. Talk to your teacher. Talk to the people who are already achieved what you plan to achieve in life. And that would motivate you. Imagine the results of effort. Imagine the pride and satisfaction you would get, and this will motivate you to study even better. Define your path, identify the roadblocks, what is not allowing you to study, and learn how to deal for it. And don't postpone it for tomorrow. Go for it today. And for heaven's sake, change your state, meditate, move. Get motivated. What are the practical study tips which you can share with your students? Clear your desk. Clear the mess on your table. When you clear that, you clear your mind. Make a daily to-do list after the online classes. Keep it flexible. Sometimes you may have a test. Sometimes you may have a project to submit. Sometimes you don't have it. So keep it absolutely flexible. So this is what I made for the adolescents, and I said roughly you have online 5 hours online class. After that, do 5 hours of regular studies, clear your doubts, do your assignments, and then sleep for 8 hours, exercise 1 hour, family fun time 30 minutes, relax for 30 minutes, socialize with friends online 30 minutes, and meal time 1 hour. So remember, after all this, you will still have 2 hours of the day free, where you can catch up, learn a hobby, dance, laugh, fantasize. Yes, fantasize. When you fantasize and when you think of smart goals, then definitely you also plan how to reach them. Meditate, pray. This would help you to study better throughout the day. And if you have not been studying for many days, start slow. Study for only 25 minutes at a stretch and reward yourself. Maybe reward yourself with an online video game for only 10 minutes. Remember, the key is 10 minutes. When you have studied for 25 minutes, relax for that's okay. Decide what you want to study. Do you want to deal with the difficult subjects first, or you want to deal with the easy subjects first? You want to slog like a slog, or swim like a slog? Decide what you
handicap
and sometimes and discuss with your friends. Remember that every morning you have two choices: sleep with your dreams or wake up and chase them. And I hope that you will wake up and chase your dreams. A little bit more about how to stay motivated: change pens. Sometimes you may be wanting to change a pen, and a change in pen may motivate you to study. Use sticky notes, take 15 minutes break, use colorful pens like highlighters, study from videos, chat with friends about study, read instead of writing, write instead of reading, change study position, keep a checklist, tick it off. Lot of stuff for really motivating you to study. Remember, these are the things which you can control. You can control your study strategies. You can control most of your stressors. But remember, for example, there are some things which are out of your control. When would coronavirus go? This is a question which nobody can answer right now. When will the vaccination come? It will come, but probably not this year. This is something out of your control. Let go of these things. Concentrate on what you can control. As teachers, and even adolescents themselves should know what are the red flag signs of mental distress. And let me quickly share with you, and I'm coming towards the end of my presentation. You as a teacher, if an adolescent has been doing very well in studies and suddenly there's a significant fall in academic performance, this may be because of a mental disorder setting in: depression, anxiety, substance use disorder, sexual abuse, bullying. Please keep your mind open. A significant fall in academic performance is a red flag sign. An adolescent who has a change in behavior, an adolescent who never used to talk in the class, suddenly during online classes is becoming very disruptive, is disturbing everybody, and this is happening for more than 2 weeks. This again may be a sign of mental disorder. Suddenly, the adolescent who used to finish his homework in time, and also an adolescent who used to love to talk about badminton and who used to have a lot of interest in his friends, suddenly loses this interest, and this is for more than 2 weeks. Again, it's a sign of mental distress. Persistent low mood, sign of mental distress. Loss of sleep, appetite, not remaining hygienic, forgetting to have a daily bath, recurrent stomachache, headache, and the doctor saying nothing is wrong with you, a sign of mental distress. The most dangerous, if an adolescent says he has an idea of committing suicide, or he makes a Facebook post saying life is not worth living, or he makes a WhatsApp status, please take this very, very seriously. What can you do? Can you do something for this adolescent? I will tell you, you can do a lot. I'll just ask you to follow the principle of ask, listen, tell, and follow up. I've already told you the danger signs. And if you feel that there are some danger signs in your student, please have a separate online session or call him up and ask him or her, is anything bothering you? Has anybody treated you in a way that you did not like? It could be his parents, it could be his friends, it could be cyberbullying, it could be so many other stressors. And if the adolescent says that this is my problem, be calm, reassure, actively listen. Listening is so very important. And listening does not mean talking. It just means listening. After all, God has given us 2 ears and only one mouth because he wants us to listen more. And what is active listening? Active listening is paying attention. It is also giving minimal responses. It is also paraphrasing what the person has said so that you understand his feelings. And the adolescent says, I'm very angry. Oh, so you're angry with your parents? No, I'm not angry with my parents. I'm angry with my little sister who comes and disturbs me while I am studying. So you know where the focus is. So paraphrasing is important, and in the end, summarizing. So you're not able to study because your little sister comes and disturbs you. Yes, doctor, that is also there. And in addition, I do not understand online classes. So by this, you have understood what is the problem of your student. I have written 2 things in brackets. Discuss life is worth living for if your adolescent is ready to listen to you, if the adolescent is too emotionally charged up, remember, you do not have to give any advice. You do not have to say anything. You just have to listen. And the next thing you have to tell the adolescent is, it's important that you talk to your parent about all the stresses that you are facing. And the adolescent says, I cannot talk to them. Then you can offer, as a teacher, can I talk to your parents? Believe me, the parents would understand me better, maybe better than what you do. And if an adolescent has suicidal ideation, please tell the parents to seek professional help immediately and to ensure that the student is never ever left alone. And remember, after you have done all these good deeds, please remember to follow up. How are you? Or if the adolescent is not coming to the online classes, call up the parent and ask that there were so many stresses. How is the adolescent doing now? So as a teacher, you can be actually a lifesaver. Remember, there are some helplines available, especially during this Corona period, and I'm sure you must have these helplines with you readily available. You can even share it with the children. Sometimes the adolescents do not want to share their problems with anybody. Maybe they would find these helplines useful. There is also the child line 1098 to report all cases of child abuse and child maltreatment, including child sexual abuse. Let me give you a quick test. A 14-year-old says that he gets headache and stomach pain and vomiting while studying before exams. He is an average student. Can you tell me 2 quick relaxation techniques that can be advised to him before studying? Of course, you will like to go and check whether he's been studying regularly, whether he's been understanding his lessons. Can he do 2 quick relaxation techniques? If this was an offline session, I would have asked you a lot of questions. But unfortunately, it is not. So just think, maybe 2 things which we can quickly tell them is praying, if he believes in God. Remember, respect what the adolescent believes. Don't force your value system on the adolescent. You are not the parent, remember, you are the teacher. So let the parents talk about the family values. You have to say, okay, you believe in God, pray. If not, meditate. Can we all do a short meditation exercise? I will just do it quickly with you so that you can teach your adolescents. Can I ask all of you to please close your eyes? Please close your eyes. Concentrate on your breath. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. Feel the cool air coming in and the warm air coming out. Concentrate on your breath. You will see a lot of thoughts coming into your mind. That is okay. Thoughts are normal. Try to focus on your breath. Breathing in, I know that I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know that I'm breathing out. And now slowly open your eyes and thank yourself for being mindful for a few minutes. So how did you feel after that? This is a quick relaxation technique which you can teach to your adolescent. Is there anything quick relaxation technique? The second thing would be to go and do some exercise. Some adolescents who are fond of exercise, they would feel very much relaxed. And this is, by the way, a true case. This child was getting a panic attack just before the 10th standard board exam, which was conducted during the pandemic. The mindfulness meditation helped him to actually avert the panic attack, and he scored 78% in his board exams. So some of these techniques can be extremely useful. I request all of you to be supportive, careful, alert, and kind. Be ready to fight COVID-19. Please ensure media distancing. Media distancing is equally important, because if you need latest health advice, don't listen to all the media channels. Just go to reliable websites of the Government of India, of WHO, and of the Karnataka government. Please be mindful of that. And let us together combat COVID-19 as one. And in the end, I would like to say, let's meditate together for universal well-being. Once more, Close your eyes. If there's somebody sitting next to you, hold their hands. Otherwise, hold your hands together and say in your mind, may all be happy. May all be healthy. May nobody suffer from pain. May all be at peace. Thank you very much for being a wonderful audience. And I would like to share in the end this fantastic photograph of 1,000 students from Rajkot who are doing mindfulness meditation along with me. Let us all join hands, and literally this is joining hands with adolescents, with parents and teachers for adolescent well-being. Thank you very much. I will be happy to take questions.
Thank you, Preeti ma'am, for this wonderful and enlightening session. I think your session has been so enlightening that there are very few questions in the chat box, but someone would like to know whether this stress is faced more by girls or boys. How is it?
Yes. So what happens is, I must tell you, in the adolescent period, the girls, when they attain their menarche, that is, when they start with their periods, the stress, in fact, goes a little bit more because of the release of estrogen and progesterone hormone, which makes them more emotionally reactive, right? And they're more emotional as individual. But before puberty, the stress is almost the same in boys and girls.
Okay. And how do we counsel parents? Because as teachers, we all go through so many workshops, so many trainings, even during our B.Ed, and we have some knowledge as to how children can be counseled. But during this COVID time, children are at home and parents need to know how to counsel these children, because I think they are more in contact with these children. So do we have some training sessions or something specifically for parents so that they can help their adolescent children?
What I will do, madam, is to share a few of my videos which I have, which are available on the Facebook and also on YouTube, which are for the parents, as to how parents should be handling especially adolescents. And these are short videos. I'll be happy to share the link with you, and you can just forward it to all the teachers. So they can, and I've given a lot of practical tips for parents.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think once again, I would like to say the session was really, really very enlightening. And it was, I think many of us got answers to many of our questions.
Yes.
So thank you, Dr. Preeti Galgali, for having agreed to come to us and address our principals and teachers. I would also like to thank Mrs. Sumalini, principal of Silicon Valley School, who made it possible for us to have this session. Thank you so much, madam. To all the participants, all the principals, counselors, and teachers, thank you so much for having taken time off to attend this session. And of course, to all the back-end team who helped us to see to it that this session went off very smoothly. Thank you so much. Now, I think I will post the link in the chat box if you fill it for your e-certificates.